Well, guys, you know, before we start, we just love to give a quick Empower Me Now moment to feed your mind. And I want you all to remember this. The only thing that stands between you and what you want in life is the will to try it and the faith to believe that it is possible. Remember that. The only thing that stands between a person and what they want in life is the will to try it and the faith to believe that it is possible. I don't know what you're believing for financially, what your goals are, what you're looking for here in Jubi Rev, but I'm here to tell you, whatever it is, you can do it. Just believe it, guys, because it is absolutely possible. And the gentleman coming on the line tonight, he's going to break it down for you. He's going to dot those I's and cross those T's and make you see how Jubi Rev, Jubi Max can be the opportunity that you absolutely have been praying for. This is going to bless a whole lot of people. And so let me tell you a little bit about this gentleman. If you're new to the call, I'm sure you can identify with him because he comes from humble beginnings, you know, just wanting to do something great for his family, have that financial freedom. He got started in this industry. Like most people, didn't have that success at first, but guess what he had? He had that perseverance to keep on going and growing. Grew himself into a phenomenal leader, and guess what, guys? Went on to make not only a six, but multiple seven-figure incomes. And now he's on this line almost daily helping to share this Jubi Rev, Jubi Max opportunity. So get ready, guys. The next voice that you're going to hear is that of the awesome Mr. T. Lamont Silver. Are you out there with me, T. Lamont?
Yes, I am, Mrs. Ayabumi Moore. Thank you, young lady.
You're welcome.
Appreciate, I love those Empower Me Now moments. I love those. I love the introductions and the people from all across the globe. And then just as soon as I hear some of the folks from across the globe, I'm there with my pad and my pen, and I'm ready to jot down my notes for actually computer, but ready to type out my notes from your Empower Me Now moment. So thank you so much. All right, ladies and gentlemen, do me a favor. Those of you who are visiting with us, you are a guest. This is the first time that you've been on this presentation webinar. Maybe you've already registered, but this is the first time you've seen this presentation webinar. If you would open up your questions box and just put a Y in there, I'd like to get a sense of who's returning and then who is maybe here for the first time. Wow, fantastic, good stuff, fantastic. Well, welcome to all of our first timers here on the webinar. As Boomy mentioned, we've been in this industry for quite some time now, 19 years actually. We stumbled upon this industry after being kicked out of college, and we were delivering pizzas, and we struggled the first few years. But we bought the dream. We bought the dream of we're here in the U.S., of being able to build a business to the point that we could make $5,000, $8,000, $10,000 a month. That was my goal. That was my goal. I felt like if I got to 10 grand a month, I'd be on the mountaintop. I'd be at the pinnacle. And we finally got there. And as a matter of fact, the first time we got there was because, in large part, to Boomy Moore, Aya Boomy Moore, the young lady who just did the introduction and the Empower Me Now moment, and her parents. She's a second-generation networker, Dick and Jerry Stewart. Aya Boomy Moore was my enroller in a business in this industry, and that's the first company that we hit it big, in large part due to her leadership and to Zeke and Jerry. Now, so we hit the 10 grand mark, and then 12 grand and 15 grand and so on and so forth. And what I was not prepared for, Terrence and Isaiah, was the empty feeling that we had. See, I thought once we hit 10 grand a month, Nelson, that we'd be on cloud nine. I wasn't prepared for the empty feeling, knowing that while we made really good money, our Joe average and our Sue average, and most of our teams will be made up of great people, but people that aren't great at recruiting or sponsoring, and they weren't making money. Until we ran across a model a couple of years ago that completely changed everything. And you're going to see how Jubi Rev, Jubi Max is building upon that dynamic model. So Jubi Rev, ladies and gentlemen, is our company's promoter side. This is our marketing side. This is where we're going to get paid. Jubi Max is our customer portal. This is where we're going to have everything from high-demand products like skincare, weight loss, energy, and vitality, to travel-related products. That's a $7 trillion industry in and of itself, to the online shopping world. Now, The name Jubi, when I first heard that name, I chuckled a little bit, and I thought, Jubi? What in the world is a Jubi? And our management team said, well, go look up the word jubilant, because Jubi is short for jubilant. And one of the synonyms for jubilant is triumphant. See, a couple of years ago, we had struggled those first few years. We finally hit our stride. I had that empty feeling because we were making big money, but most of our teams weren't. And then a couple of years ago, we ran across a model, a revenue sharing model, where the companies would share most of its commissionable dollars would be shared with the entire field force. So not just the big business builders. And that changed everything. We're going to talk about that tonight. So Jubi Rev, our promoter side, that's where you and I are going to reside. We want to be triumphant. We're going to show you that Joe and Susie Average will be able to be very triumphant with our model. Jubi Max, well, jubilant. Let's think about it. That means thrilled. Jubilant also means excited, ecstatic, elated, exuberant. We want our customers to be thrilled, excited, elated, exuberant about our product. Now, we're going to show you tonight how average everyday people are going to be able to change their lifestyles in record time. The question is, are you ready? Now, we've got a phenomenal vision, ladies and gentlemen. Without a vision, folks don't make it. Without a vision, people perish. Our vision is to spark a global economic movement, lead the revenue sharing revolution. Revenue sharing is a type of compensation model. We're going to lead that revolution. At the same time, from a product standpoint, we're going to empower people around the globe to look good, feel good, and live good. Now, you can have a great vision statement, but you really need visionary leadership to help lead us into this revenue sharing revolution. So let me introduce you to our visionary president. Mr. J. Joshua Beisel is our president, and the beautiful part about President Beisel, a lot of people, a lot of times in the marketing world, the person that is the president was maybe a promoter, just came out of the field, but they may not have executive experience. The great thing about Mr. Beisel is that he was president of a top alternative energy company, a traditional business, traveled all across the globe. And like so many people, you know, things happen. One thing that happened with Mr. Beisel is while he was traveling across the globe and pulling 80 hours, he and his lovely wife got pregnant, which was the joy of the life. Unfortunately, it was a very difficult pregnancy. And then after his wife delivered, it was even difficult thereafter. He had to make the decision to come away from corporate America. Lived off some savings for a while, and then that started to dwindle. And he started thinking, hey, I need to be a stay-at-home dad. I need to be a stay-at-home father. What can I do? By that time, he had blown through a lot of his savings, and he got started in the home business career, listen to this, with a borrowed budget, ladies and gentlemen, of $55.36. He has parlayed that over the last few years into multiple seven-figure enterprises, and he is now the founder and CEO of the world's largest independent MLM call center in the world, located in the Phoenix, Arizona area. So our corporate highlights, our company is actually a British Virgin Island company. We've got offices in the U.S., in Phoenix, Arizona. There will be other international locations that will be opening up soon. We've got fully staffed customer support, in-house software development team, in-house legal team, industry leading MLM attorneys, a compliant business model, compliant compensation plan, and here's the key, ladies and gentlemen. This is how you judge to see if a company is here for a short run, a nice 1 year, 2 year deal, not interested in that, or if they're here for the long haul. Do they have high demand products and services that consumers that have nothing to do with the income opportunity are going to want to consume? And ladies and gentlemen, you're going to figure that out. So Jubi Rev is our company's marketing arm. We're going to lead the revenue sharing revolution. We're not just a company. We are a movement. Jubi Max, our company's customer portal. We want you to look good. We want you to feel good. We want you to live good. Now, let me tell you what we saw a couple years ago. So here we had been in the industry, struggled early on, finally hit our stride, made our 10, 15, 20,000 a month or more, go to the bank, empty feeling, because we know that the majority of our team, Joe and Susie average, weren't making even enough money in many cases to cover their monthly auto ship or monthly subscription or whatever the business requirements happen to be. And then we stumbled across this revenue sharing model, and all of a sudden we saw the same Joe and Susie averages that had problems recruiting and selling. We saw the same Joe and Susie averages a few months into the model, maybe generating enough to cover a car note. Maybe a few months later, one Susie average in particular comes to mind, who had been with us 8 years and hadn't really made any money. A few months after that, she was making enough to pay a house note. A few months after that, about 14, 15 months leveraging the model, she was at a point where she was able to have a full-time income. And ladies and gentlemen, she still didn't become a great recruiter or a great business builder, and yet the power of this model. So let's start to share that with you. Now, the company is going to pay 10 dynamic ways. I don't have time to cover all 10 ways. The one way that you and I want to really focus in on is the Jubi Rev Daily Leadership Bonus. Now, let me tell you this. We're in a pre-registration stage right now. Nobody's paid a dime for anything. We're about to move into our pre-launch stage, which is going to start this coming Thursday. We'll give you more information so you can make that webinar. Our president will be on with us, giving you all the details. Ultimately, from our pre-launch, we're going to go into what we call our soft launch stage, and that's when this Jubi Rev Daily Leadership Bonus will start. We're just a few weeks out. What's going to happen is this. Every day that the company generates revenue, it's going to share up to 50%, sometimes even more of that revenue with every qualified promoter in our system. Now, I'll share with you what you need to do to be qualified, but here's what you need to get, ladies and gentlemen. You do not have to recruit other promoters in order to be qualified. By the way, the company refers to us as promoters as opposed to reps or distributors or so on, or affiliates. They refer to us as promoters. So I want you to understand how huge this is. You may not be the big business builder, but I'm looking on the webinar, and there's a gentleman by the name of Tyron from Trinidad and Tobago who's got one of the largest teams right now in all of Jubi Rev, Jubi Max. Well, maybe you didn't enroll him. Yet as his team continues to grow and they help provide production, meaning people buy and products and services because of Tyron's team, guess what? You're going to override Tyron's production, even though you didn't enroll him. I'm looking at another gentleman who is absolutely tearing it up out there in Vegas, Byron, and his sister, I believe. Byron's been kicking it, and his sister is now on the Leaders Bulletin. I think she's number 8 in the company in terms of personal enrollments. You may not even know Byron. You may not even know, I think it's Bridget. You may not even know Bridget, and yet as they build their team and that produces production for the company and revenue for the company, you're going to override it. Essentially what will happen is that we will override, Khalil, we'll override the production, my friend, of the entire company. Transactions happening in Pakistan, transactions happening in the U.S., in the Philippines, in Europe, in Africa, South America, the islands, we will override it, ladies and gentlemen. Now, what we need to get is at the income opportunity. We're going to get into the income opportunity, but first we need to understand that it's only as good as the product offering. Let's look at our products and services real quickly. Now, one of the things that our president is insistent on is that we have products and services that people are already buying and consuming. There's already a very high demand. We don't have to try to educate people on this particular product category or what have you. Skincare is one of the biggest movers of product online. And all you have to do is look at some of the companies that have been stalwarts in our industry. Avon, number 1 in our industry. They do $11 billion a year in business. Mary Kay, $2.5 billion a year in business. Amway, $9.2 billion a year in business. All of these companies have a skincare line. Go to the mall the next time and look at all the skincare. Then we've got weight loss, ladies and gentlemen. This is one of the biggest keywords typed into Google. People looking to lose weight, looking for good products to help them to lose weight. We'll have our own Jubi branded product line, our own Jubi weight loss line, our own Jubi skincare line, which will include, our Jubi trainer series, so that not only are people losing weight, but they start to get more fit and keeping that weight off. Our energy, ladies and gentlemen, I love this product. I wish I had time to really talk to you about it, but I can tell you, we've been working with corporate, we've been working with support, we've been working with management team. I'm a promoter just like you. I just want to make sure that the field has a very loud voice, and so we've been tapped to be a liaison in this early stage. There'll be so many others that will also fulfill those types of roles. For a 96-hour period, ladies and gentlemen, we were working through the night, 4 nights straight. We got about 9 hours of sleep over a 96-hour period. Because we were taking this energy product, we never felt jitters. We had a sustained, productive energy. You're going to want that product, ladies and gentlemen. Vitality. Look at how she's looking at him. Look at how he's looking at her. This is a family show, but you can probably figure out what that means for that product. I was talking with the manufacturer a couple of weeks ago. I had the privilege to talk with the manufacturer. We wanted to learn some things so we could start doing some training when that time came for us to start shipping out product. And I just assumed that the men's formula, Nelson, was going to go. It was going to fly off the shelf. I just knew Terrence, one of our great leaders, who's also on the Leaders Bulletin in the top 10. Terrence Burns, good to see you, buddy. I just knew the men's formula was going to fly off the shelf. I wasn't prepared when he told me, you should see what happens with that woman's formula. Now, we may never get any Facebook or YouTube testimonials about those products, but if they work, you just keep using them, okay? Now, the president said we need to go a step further. These are high-demand products. People are going to buy them anyway. We're simply going to have them to transfer their spending to buy them through us. We're going to give them some huge incentives to do so. But we also want folks to be able to buy things that they normally buy. They're used to buying from Walmart. They're used to buying from Best Buy. They're used to buying from Office Depot and Staples and 1-800-Flowers and so on and so forth, Groupon. They're used to doing that. Why don't we have a platform so that they can buy from the stores they're used to buying from, but they get a rebate? And so now when they make a purchase, they may get a 2 or 3 or 5 or 10% rebate coming back to them. Remember what Mama told us. She said a penny saved is a penny earned. Did your mama teach you that? My mom did. What did they do? Go to the same mom school? And so we understand, ladies and gentlemen, that this is a way to generate more revenue. Why? Because every time my wife and I go through our Jubi Rebates portal, because we're going to spend a few $100s a month at Walmart anyway, and we go to Walmart through the Jubi Rebates portal, maybe we get a gift card, so we go right down to our regular store, we buy it through the portal, ladies and gentlemen, we get 2, maybe 3 or 4% cash back. The company also gets a piece. So they may get 1%. They may get 2%. Now, why is that important? You heard when Mrs. Ayabumi Moore was doing the introductions that we had people here from the UK, and we had people here from Australia, and we had people here from New Zealand, and we had people here from Europe and the US and Canada and Philippines. And so what happens when we've got tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of promoters, and then ultimately even millions of consumers just making purchases they would normally make anyway, but through our portal, so they get a rebate, and the company gets a little piece, and they share that with us on a daily basis. Mr. J. Joshua Bice, the president, said we're not going to stop there. There's another huge industry that's there. There's $7 trillion travel industry, and we need to make sure we get a piece of that. We're going to start off with our Jubi Resort membership, ladies and gentlemen. I was so excited. I was hearing last night. I was having a conversation with management last night, and management was saying, hey, with our Jubi Resort membership, folks are going to be able to travel all across the globe, over 2,000 luxury resorts in over 85 countries. He said, now, instead of them having to go to a timeshare presentation and get upsold on the timeshare, they're just going to get their 8-day, 7-night stay. It might be 2 bedrooms that sleeps 8. It might be 3 bedrooms that sleeps 10. And he gave me some pricing, and it blew me away. He said, for instance, well, I'm looking at the engine right now, and here is a really nice resort in a highly trafficked area, let's say Orlando, that would normally for the week go for about $1,200 to $1,300 for the week. I'm thinking, well, that's pretty good. He said, well, here's the thing. Our customers would be able to get that week for maybe $499 for the week. So really, are you serious? And then he said, hey, remember that thing about something called a Jubi Buck? They'll actually be able to apply some Jubi Bucks towards that and maybe only have to pay out of pocket something like $399 for a week for an 8-day, 7-night stay. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm flying out to Phoenix next week so that we can meet with our president. And the rates I'm getting to stay at the hotel, at a decent-sized hotel, is almost $200 a night. And here we're talking about me and my family being able to stay 2 bedrooms sleeping 8, 3 bedrooms sleeping 10 in a resort area for what is going to cost me a couple of nights to stay out in Phoenix for. Powerful, powerful. Now, I want you to understand something that's happening here. This is a 45-minute presentation, and I haven't even started talking about the money yet. Why is this important? Because any business that's going to be here for the test of time must be built upon a solid foundation of high-demand products and services. There's a lot of things on the internet, ladies and gentlemen, that say, hey, you get paid a lot of money, but at the core of it, there's really no products or services. And that's why we're spending this time here. What's our competitive advantage from a product and service standpoint? Here's our competitive advantage. We get to give away samples. We get to give away samples in the form of what we call Jubi Bucks, and we get to give away samples in that we get to actually give away physical samples of our weight loss and skincare. Let's talk about Jubi Bucks for just a moment. Let's say that here's Kim, and she registers to be a free customer of yours. Now, you might know Kim, and she registered. You might have posted it on your Facebook. We'll place an ad a day as one of our qualifiers so that we earn on a daily basis. Maybe she saw your ad. A number of ways that she could have become a free customer of yours. Now, she becomes a free customer, meaning that she registers for free, and you give her some Jubi Bucks. You give her some Jubi Bucks. A Jubi Buck is a $1 for $1 discount on products that Kim may buy in our Jubi brand portal. So let's say Kim goes and she purchases some skincare. She gets to the checkout. It's $100 for the skincare that she wants to purchase. Okay, wait a minute though. You gave her 50 Jubi Bucks. She can apply the 50 Jubi Bucks to the $100 purchase. I'm speaking in U.S. dollar terms. So instead of her paying $100 at checkout, she pays the 100 minus the 50 that she gets to apply, so really 50 bucks plus whatever the shipping and handling happens to be. What did she receive? She got a right now discount. Now, as excited as we are about our Jubi rebates, where she can also go and make purchases from Walmart and Target and Old Navy and Groupon and get her 2 or 3 or 4 or 5% cash back, that 2, 3, 4, 5% cash back is going to be a little bit down the road, maybe 30 or 60 days, depending on the merchant. This savings she got on our Jubi branded products was when? Right now. She'll also be able to use some Jubi Bucks to offset a resort booking if she books an 8-day, 7-night vacation through our Jubi resorts. The other way that we're going to be able to give out samples is to actually have our manufacturers send physical samples to our registered customer. So whether that customer wants to get a full 30-day supply of, let's say, skincare or weight loss, or whether that our customer just wants a sample of one bottle, or maybe one bottle from the skincare line or what have you. you'll be able to send them a sample. Now, what's the purpose of the samples? Possession is 9/10 of the law. We want the customer to touch, feel, use, fall in Jubi. We want them to be Jubi about the product, jubilant, excited, exuberant, so that when they consume the product and they are running out of the product, they then come back to your Jubi portal to buy some more. And by the way, let's put those two together. So you gave someone a sample, skincare, weight loss, energy, vitality, some other product lines that I haven't even talked about. They consume it. They want to come back now and buy some more, and perhaps you even gave them some Jubi bucks so that they can take those Jubi bucks and buy more, but buy more at a discount because they utilize the Jubi bucks. Ladies and gentlemen, what we have here is absolutely phenomenal from a consumer end. It could stand on its own without a compensation model. But since it can stand on its own without a compensation model, what would happen if the company wrapped all of this around the most explosive compensation model I've seen in my 19 years, having built now 4 7-figure business interests in those 19 years? This will be our 5th. This will be by far our biggest. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm planting my flag here. This is my last stand. This is it, ladies and gentlemen. This is what I've been looking for. Let's talk about the income opportunity now. Now, the company's going to pay us 10 different ways, and we certainly do not have time to cover all 10 ways. I'm going to talk about the Jubi Rev Daily Leadership Bonus. This is the daily revenue share, and from that, I'm going to cover that, how that works, and I'll be able to maybe highlight just a little part of another part of the compensation. So we'll probably cover about 1.5 of the 10 ways that the company pays. Let's talk about the daily leadership bonuses. This is what we are really building our compensation model around, on the foundation of solid products and services, but the compensation being built around the daily leadership bonuses. Okay, for us to get this, the first thing we need to understand is something called a Jubi point. We want to accrue as many Jubi points as possible. This is how the company is going to determine how much of that day's revenue does Dean receive versus how much does Paula receive, or how much does Vicky or Viola or Sheila receive. It's based on our Jubi points. So here's what happens. Each and every time you have customers register and we give them Jubi bucks on the Jubi Max gift card, or we give them access to our Jubi Resorts booking engine, or we send them a sample coming from our manufacturer, so you don't have to hoard it up in your garage or in your basement. They want the sample. We send the sample of our Jubi branded products to them. Anytime any of those activities happen, ladies and gentlemen, you earn Jubi points. So essentially, we are going to earn Jubi points by giving away samples. It could be samples of our weight loss products, as an example. Okay, now, multiple ways to earn Jubi points, but here's a quick chart. You give away a Jubi buck. Remember, you gave Kim maybe 50 Jubi bucks in our example. Every Jubi buck you give away, that will ultimately earn you 1 Jubi point. You have Jubi brand products that are shipped out to that customer as a sample. You're going to earn Jubi points. And there are other ways for you to earn Jubi points as well. All we really need to understand is, if I give away samples, I earn Jubi points. The more samples I give away, the more Jubi points are earned. Samples could be in the form of Jubi bucks, could be in the form of a physical sample, giving access to that resort booking engine. The more I give, the more I get. The more I give, the more I get. The more I give, the more I get. Now, I'm going to give you an example here. Mr. Attorney, Mrs. Attorney would like us to convey that this is an example of how the Jubi Rev Daily Leadership Bonus works, and is not meant to imply any income guarantees. Okay, so this is how this is going to work. And again, we're a few weeks out from this part of the compensation being live, but just a few short weeks. All right, here we go. So Jubi Rev has its generates revenue for that day, and it's going to calculate its daily leadership bonus value based on the daily commissionable sales volume the company's brought in that day. It's going to share up to 50%, sometimes even more, through the Jubi Rev daily leadership bonus system. So in effect, the company brings in revenue, decides how much it's going to share, basically puts it into a pool. So Tyron in Trinidad and Tobago, he's building a phenomenal business. Frank from Germany by way of Thailand is building a phenomenal business. My buddy Coach building a phenomenal business. Suzanne over there in France building a heck of a business. Well, all of that production that all these great leaders and Joe and Susie averages all combined, as production goes through, company generates revenue. It's going to share up to 50% of that, put it into a pool, and then we're going to share, get a pro rata share of that day's reward. Now, what will happen is the company then takes the amount of the revenue, it's going to share that day. It's going to divide that by the number of active Jubi points. So the more Jubi points you have, the more your earnings will be that particular day. What this does is this creates across the board a reward for each Jubi point. The beautiful part about that is it doesn't matter if you're Joe or Susie average or you're Joe or Susie superstar. Whatever the reward was for every point that night, everyone got the same reward per point. So this gives everyone a chance to generate revenue. All right, so this is how this works. So let's say in this example, the company generates $1 million today in commissionable sales volume, $1 million. It elects to share 50% of that, or $500,000. So that's the amount that the company's putting in the pool based on this example. Now, each point will receive a reward that night. Now, let me tell you what we're not going to say. The company will never share this. You are never going to share this. This is not going to show up on a YouTube video, or it certainly shouldn't. If it shows up, the company wants to know about it so they can let that person know that that is not compliant, so it protects the goose that lays the golden egg. We're not going to say that the company paid XYZ percentage that night. That would be problematic, particularly in the U.S., because this is not an investment. So we refer to it as a reward per point. Now, this example, Joe had 100 JPs, Jubi points. His total reward, based on his 100 JPs and what the company paid out per point that night, was $1.25. Now, we're going to get our reward paid to us in Jubi bucks. I'll share with you in a few moments what you can do with that Jubi buck reward, how you can actually commission or convert some of that into actual commission dollars. Now, here's what's important to get. Here's Joe average, 100 JPs. Sue average, she's built her Jubi point total to 1,000 Jubi points. She gets the same reward per point, but because she has more points, her reward was higher. She's no better than Joe. She's not superior to Joe. She just happens to have given out more samples that got her more Jubi points. Or maybe she's built a semblance of a referral network where she's gotten some commissions, so she had more dollars to purchase more inventory to give away as samples. Now, Julio has 10,000 Jubi points that night. Is he better than Sue? No. Is he better than Joe? No. He's just given away, over time, more samples. The more samples you give away, the more you give, the more you get. 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 Now, he earned 125 Jubi bucks that night. If you look at this, nice round numbers, the ratios were all the same. He earned 125 Jubi bucks. So what's the moral of the story? We want to grow our Jubi point totals. What if in time you grew your Jubi point totals to 100,000 Jubi points. Well, nice round numbers, you would just add a 0 to that number in this example. What if you grew to 500,000 Jubi points? What if you grew to 1,000,000 Jubi points? And let me share with you what we saw a couple of years ago that changed everything for us. We saw our Joe and Susie average maybe starting off with 100 or so points. And through a process of time, it grew to 500 and 600 and 700. Through a process of time, it was 1,000 and 1,500 and 5,000. Through a process of time, it was 10,000 points or more. And we saw our Susie average, who had been with us for over 8 years, who had never made enough money to cover a monthly auto ship or subscription. She did everything we told her to do. She made her list of 100 people. She called those folks. She invited them to the meeting. Some never showed up. She invited them to the meeting, and some of them came and said, hey, yes, I'm going to join, and then they never returned a phone call. She invited them to the meeting, and some of them said, hey, I'm going to join, and they joined, and then they never returned a phone call. She invited them to a meeting, and they joined and returned a phone call, and they were excited for a week or two, but because they couldn't recruit or sponsor or sell, they dropped out. Am I talking to anyone? If anyone can identify with Sue Average and the person I was just talking about is a real person, put a Y in your questions box. If you know what that feels like, you invited them to the conference call, invited them to the webinar, you did everything you were taught by the big grand poobah leaders to do, and it still didn't work. Oh my gosh, I'm seeing a lot of yeses. I want you to know, ladies and gentlemen, that now you have a home. Because not only do we have this phenomenal compensation model, but it's built on a solid foundation of strong products and services with visionary leadership. So how did I qualify to earn daily? It was real simple. As a promoter, we're going to place an ad a day. We're not required to do this right now because we're not ready for the daily revenue. That's going to be coming up in the next few short weeks. When that day comes, we're going to place an ad a day. But I'm not good at the internet. Well, can you simply place one ad, especially if the company prescripts what the ad is and tells you number of places that you can go and place the ad? And plus, many of your great leaders out there will have some sources that will help you get your ads placed in front of highly trafficked areas. Ladies and gentlemen, if you can do that, if you can give away some samples, you get to earn on a nightly basis as the company has revenues to share. The more Jubi points you have, the greater your daily potential rewards. Now, I mentioned that I was going to share with you what you can do with your daily rewards. Your paid-in Jubi bucks. Well, what you can do is you can set your system because you can actually convert as much as 60% of your daily Jubi buck reward into commissions. It can go into eCash, and then you can commission that out. Now, what that means is that even if you set to 60%, the great part about this is the company has a built-in mechanism that has you still building your Jubi buck balance so you can generate more Jubi points. Why? Because even if I said, well, I want 60% or 50% or 10% of my Jubi buck reward to go to cash for commissioning purposes, doesn't that mean there's a certain amount that still is going to be in my Jubi buck balance? The answer to that is yes. Why did the company do that? So that now you have more inventory. So you can give away more samples, because the more you give, the more you get. The more you give, the more you get. The more you give, the more you get. Let's share just a couple of extra things here, guys and guyettes, and we're going to round third here. There are a number of ways to get to these positions. A J Director, for instance, if you have $15 a month of personal volume, meaning either you sold $15 a month of products and services, or you could have purchased $15 a month of products and services, and we have a monthly subscription at $15 a month, so that would give you your J Director rank. Then all of your Jubi points would earn for a period of 80 days. So the beautiful part is you don't have Jubi points that earn for a day or 2 or 17. They earn for at least 80 days if you're Jade. If you're Ruby Director, and the path of least resistance is for you to purchase $50 a month worth of products. Well, you do that with our $50 a month subscription. You are at that rank. That gives you the volume. Your Jubi points earn for 85 days. They can earn for 95 days. They can even earn for 105 days. So imagine earning points tonight, and they earn for 105 days. You earn points next week. They earn for 105 days. You earn points on March the 17th. They earn for 105 days. You earn points May the 31st. I was going to say 32nd. They earn potentially for 105 days. All right, let's finish with this. This is my half. I said I would show you 1.5 ways. Let's talk about real quickly generational bonus overrides. I believe this is going to happen. We saw this. We're already seeing this here at Jubi Rev, Jubi Max. There's a young lady out of Delaware. Her name is Pat. My very dear friend and mentor, Zeke, and his lovely wife, Jerry, or I should say friends and mentors, Zeke and Jerry Stewart, they enrolled Pat. Now, Pat, I've known Pat for years. Great people, but much like Sue Average, has a difficult time recruiting people and sponsoring folks. So Pat comes aboard, and Zeke and Jerry tell Pat, well, Pat, you know, the beautiful part is you don't have to recruit or sponsor. And Pat made the mistake of going out and telling someone, hey, you can come over here to Jubi Rev, Jubi Max, and you can start making money once they start the daily revenue, and you don't have to recruit or sponsor. Well, guess what happened? She recruited that person. And then Pat went to somebody else and said, hey, you know, I'm not good at recruiting or sponsoring, and there's this place over here called Jubi Rev, Jubi Max, where you're going to be able to earn money every single day, even if you never recruit or sponsor. And then she recruited that person. And she said it again and recruited that person. And this is what we saw, ladies and gentlemen. The person that said I wasn't good at recruiting or sponsoring, when the pressure was taken off and they knew they could earn whether they recruited or not, all of a sudden they would just tell people, hey, come check out Jubi Rev, Jubi Max. You don't have to recruit or sponsor. You don't have to recruit or sponsor. And in many cases, they by default became recruiters and sponsorers. All right, got to start rounding third here. Let's say that you are a diamond. This should be everyone's goal, is to get to the diamond position as quickly as possible. And then there are some other forms of diamond. But let's just talk about diamond here. So you're a diamond. Whether you started there from day one because you had the wherewithal to have a $200 purchase of your own, of your monthly subscription, or whether you built there over time, at some point you're a diamond. This means that when any of your personally enrolled, when they purchase Jubi Bucks as inventory, you're going to get a 10% override. And every night, as we get into the daily revenue, they earn daily. And remember, with what they earn daily, how are they paid? In Jubi Bucks. Guess what that means on a nightly basis? You get a commission and override. Every night they earned is every night you're going to get another commission. Why? Because a certain amount of their earnings went to the Jubi Buck column. Take a look at this, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. Let's say you are now at a 10% override rate, 10% commission rate, and you have enrolled Maria. You've enrolled Maria. Now, Maria's gotten started. She's got some Jubi points. She places her ad each day. She gives away some samples. She qualifies to earn daily. And on a Sunday night, she is awarded 92 Jubi Bucks. That's what went to her Jubi Buck balance that night. You get a 10% override. So you earn an additional 10% of the 92, 9.2 Jubi Bucks. Now, remember, you could have told the system, I want to convert some Jubi Bucks into cash for commissioning purposes, or you could have let that go straight to your Jubi Buck total. Why would that be important? Because that means now you can use the Jubi Bucks yourself if you'd like, or you can give them away, generating more what? Jubi points. The next night, on Monday in this example, Maria is awarded 101 Jubi Bucks. Well, wait a minute. You get a 10% override that night too, 10.1 additional Jubi Bucks. Again, you can convert some of that into commissions. But then on Tuesday night, she's awarded 113 Jubi bucks in this example. You get another 11. Wait. You see, Zeke and Jerry, you see, Zeke, why I had to come to South Carolina and show this to you, my friend? Because for years, Zeke, for years, Jerry, you taught me. The first company we ever built to a 7-figure enterprise was because of your leadership and because of Boomy Moore's leadership. You taught me monthly residual income. And I got to the top, I thought. And then all of a sudden, I look at this model, and this isn't monthly residual income. This isn't weekly residual income. This is daily. Daily. This is why we say every day that Jubi Rev, Jubi Max can be what? Say it with me. It can be payday. So, ladies and gentlemen, what do you need to do now? I've shared with you 1.5 ways that the company pays. There are 10 different ways. I haven't talked about anything about our Jubi Suite, which is just amazing. I haven't talked about our luxury card bonus. I haven't even talked about that. I haven't talked about any generational check matching bonuses. Ladies and gentlemen, this is absolutely amazing. I hadn't talked about you being able to drive around in your Mercedes or your BMW or your Porsche and qualifying for that car bonus. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is what you want to do. You want to get back to the person who referred you. And for those of you who have not already registered, you want to register at their Jubi Rev site. So get back to the person who referred you, get their Jubi Rev site, and go on and register with them. Number 2, as soon as you've registered, you're going to have a thank you page, and you're going to see where you have promoter links. You want to get your promoter link out. Remember, right now, we're not asking anyone to make a purchase of anything right now. So get your promoter link out. Email it out, text it out, Skype it out, Facebook it out, tweet it out, so on and so forth. Have them register for free, just like you'll register, and then they can get the rest of the story. They'll be able to log in, get plenty of information, as well as come to any of our live webinars. Then the third thing is, after you've done that, you want to go and log in, jubimax.com/members. And I'd have you to take 10, maybe 15 minutes a day. If you have more time than that, then take more time and just go through that. There's plenty of videos that kind of walk you through the back office, a lot of training back there, so on and so forth. And then obviously tie into the live events that we will have so we can help you build your business and keep your vision stretched. Now, I'm a little bit past my time. I normally finish up right at 9:45. We're got some new parts to the PowerPoint. By the way, the PowerPoint is being finalized, and very, very soon. Now, I don't know if soon is in a day or two, or if soon is maybe sometime next week, but very soon the PowerPoint will be available for those of you that want to start using the PowerPoint and doing your own webinars or what have you. So that's being worked on now, as well as the compensation plan is just about ready to go. They were going back and forth and back with the attorney, and that's just about ready to go. So that's going to be showing soon. What I'm going to do right now is have an optional session. So if you have to leave, we love you. In this optional session, I want to give you just a couple of quick announcements, and then I'm going to take just a few questions. We are still working. We're still working. I got a lot to do with management on tonight, and so we want to get back to making sure that this coming Thursday we've got certain things in place for the pre-launch party. All right, so this is an optional session. A couple of announcements. Number one, Thursday, in case you missed last night's webinar and conference call with our visionary leader and President J. Joshua Beisel, this coming Thursday at 12 p.m. Eastern, there is going to be our first pre-launch party webinar. He's going to share about the Founders Promotion. There's some limited Founder Promotion spots. I do not know all the details about the Founders Promotion, and even if I did, I'm sure they wouldn't let me say anything. So if you're going to put that in your questions box, save that for Thursday, 12 p.m. Eastern. You can reach that webinar by going to JubiRevTraining.com, JubiRevTraining.com. Obviously, for those of you who've logged into your back office, if you click on the calendar function, it will give you not only the JubiRevTraining.com site, It'll also give you the call-in numbers and a time and date a link so that you can distribute that, as you may have people all across the globe. If you're in Australia, what does 12 p.m. Eastern mean in your time? You'll be able to see that with that link. All right, so that's going to be Thursday at 12 p.m. Eastern. Then the president's going to come right back on Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern. Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern at this same webinar. Thursday night is our presentation night at this particular webinar, Jubi Rev webinar.com. Because so many folks promote this particular webinar as an income opportunity webinar, and they have it on their blogs and so on and so forth, the first part of this webinar, about 10 or 15 minutes, will be a quick sizzle about the income opportunity. Very, very quick, enough to get your new guests, as we've got a lot of new guests here tonight, back to you to go on and register. And then about 15 minutes after the hour, 15, maybe 20 minutes after the hour, is when the pre-launch party will start with the information about the founders promotions, walking you through how to load funds. I can tell you that today, last night and today, we did testing on Solid Trust Pay to make sure that that was automatically integrated in, and that worked spectacularly well. So that will be a pay-in solution. They are working, programming is working on that integration with Payza as well. So hopefully by Thursday, that will also be automatically integrated in. So those of you that already do business online and you've got funds in Solid Trust Pay or Payza, I know Solid Trust Pay will be ready to go. It worked like a charm, made a test transaction, but the company saw it on their end, saw the notes that they needed to have, and I refreshed. We did this on the test server, and I refreshed, and voila, in my own eCash, it was showing right there, and it gave me the details. So it pulled in the Solid Trust Pay transaction ID, the time, the purchase amount, everything, and it worked flawlessly. Prayerfully, that'll also be the case with Payza on Thursday. We already have, you can go in the back office, and I don't know if it's going to be tomorrow or Thursday. You'll see a slight change in your back office where it's going to make this more prevalent for all of our new folks. They can just click on a button and it'll take them there. But you can go and order your Jubi account. And the Jubi account is going to be, it's essentially a virtual bank account. And this is going to offer another pay-in solution, meaning I want to load funds into my system, and it's also going to be a phenomenal payout solution. Many of us that may use Solid Trust Pay or Payza as a pay-in solution because you've got funds there, you know that when you receive commissions from those systems, that while you may be requested $100, your net isn't $100 because of fees. Or you requested $1,000, your net is not $1,000 because of fees. So this Jubi account is going to be a great way, particularly as a payout solution. I will also let you know that the company is in talks with a couple of other payout solutions. One I know that they talked with today, and that's looking very, very well. And one of our great leaders out there was very instrumental in making that tie. So congratulations to them for looking out for the entire field force. We want to have multiple pay-in and payout solutions so that as you start building up your Jubi points and you start building up your commissions, it's always great to diversify your payout methods, because these are third-party systems. So if there's ever any bump in the road with one third-party system, but you've got the other systems already set, ready to go, it's easy for you to get your funds to you, okay? All right, so that's a little bit of the announcements. All the other big announcements that you need to know, you should be able to come on Thursday and hear directly from the president. I'm sorry, there is one more announcement. Next week, next Wednesday and Thursday, March 6th and 7th. Our president will be doing a presidential meet and greet. He's going to do that in the Phoenix, Arizona area, which is where he currently hails from. We've got offices out that way. Now, the location is still up in the air because it depends on the number of you that say, hey, I am coming. We've got a location in mind that is really out there by his offices that he can accommodate a certain number of folks. If we're going to need more space, then we need to know that so that we can make those accommodations. As it relates to hotels, I can tell you I'm flying in also, and I'm just choosing a hotel close to the airport because should we meet in his office or area, and then when you send a support ticket, they'll give you that information and let you know if we need to make any changes. It's only about a 20-minute drive, so I just plan on flying in, getting a rental, and heading on over to the meet and greet. Yours truly will be there both on Wednesday and Thursday, and the meet and greets are at 12 p.m. local time there in Phoenix, 12 to 4 p.m. You can come one day if you like on Wednesday. You can come on Thursday if you would like. If you want to stick around for both days, as I'll be doing, you can feel free to do so. That is not mandatory. I'm there because I want to get a chance to meet so many of you that come on the webinars who I see your names, but I haven't had a chance to get to meet you. And be mindful, this is not just for, the top producers. This is not just for the folks like Tyron, who is not only on the Leaders Bulletin as personal enrollees, but he's got, gosh, one of the biggest organizations in the entire company. Thousands upon thousands of folks in the entire organization. It's not just for the Tyrons of the world, not just for the Zeke and Jerry Stewarts of the world. If you say, hey, man, I'm Joe Average, I'm Sue Average, but doggone it, I just want to win. I just want to win, and I want to, this sounds good, it feels good, but I want to look that man in his eye, and I want to really be able to capture his spirit. And this dude who's talking to me right now on the webinar, come on out, ladies and gentlemen. Come on out. Hear the vision from him. Ask, as many questions as you want to ask, so on and so forth. Okay, let's do this now. We normally do a walkthrough in the back office, but I wanted to cover those announcements. Let's take we're going to take 15 minutes of optional Q&A. So if you have questions, go on and put those in now. Open up your questions box. Okay. All right, someone asked, so does this mean for when we were looking at the days that your points earned for, give me a moment, someone is saying, so does that mean that for every day, for 80 days, I will make 80 points? No, not quite. Let's make sure we understand this chart. Give me a moment. Someone wanted to have a better understanding of this chart here. Okay. What this means is, if I'm a Jade Director, meaning I have $15 a month in volume, and the easiest way for me to have $15 a month in volume is for me to have a $15 a month subscription. Now, my $15 a month subscription would get me 15 personal use Jubi bucks. Up to this point, we've called them Jubi credits, but I think the attorney wants us to refer to that as personal use Jubi bucks. Now, what does that mean? That means that I can use those 15 Jubi bucks as a dollar for dollar a purchase towards something in the Jubi Max portal. So maybe there's something in the Jubi Max portal I want. Maybe it's 30 bucks. I can apply those 15 bucks to that, and only come out of pocket an extra 15 bucks. Okay. Think of it like this. Most people in a traditional marketing environment, they put themselves on auto ship. Well, what the company has done here, because we're going to have a varied amount of products, you may very well choose, hey, I want to be on auto ship of that skincare every month or that weight loss every month or what have you. Or you may not necessarily want, you may not know exactly what you want from month to month, but you can still use those Jubi bucks throughout the course of the month. Okay, now back to your question. So you've got 1,000 Jubi points, let's say. Maybe you purchased $1,000 worth of Jubi bucks as inventory, gave those Jubi bucks away to customers that generated 1,000 Jubi points. Now, if you are a J director, those 1,000 Jubi points would earn for the next 80 days. Now, I don't know what the earnings on a Sunday is going to be versus a Monday versus that Tuesday. It's all relative to what revenues the company generated that day divided by the number of active Jubi points. So that's going to fluctuate from day to day. We were just showing you an example. Now, if you happen to be at the Ruby rank, your Jubi points earn for 85 days. So you get 5 more days of earning for every Jubi point that you have acquired at the Ruby director level. If you're an Emerald director, you can sell your way to a $100 a month personal volume, or you can buy the monthly subscription as you are a customer and then utilize your 100 personal use Jubi bucks to get whatever products that you want. They would earn for 95 days. And there's a big difference. There's a big difference in 95 versus 85 versus 80. And then Diamond, 105 days. Okay, so hopefully that puts that into better understanding for you. Okay. Okay, Kristen asks, how will we generate customers to give away Jubi bucks so that we can give these samples? I'm sorry, to give away the Jubi bucks or to give away the samples too. Is it Kirsten? No, that's Kristen. Kristen, there's several ways, okay? Number one, we want to make sure that people are not forsaking their warm markets. Now, here's a difference between what many of us have tried to sell people, our friends and family before. This is a lot different because we're just saying, hey, register and get a free sample, as an example. Get a free sample of weight loss. Get a free sample of skincare. Try it out. Okay, so that's one way. Your warm market, your Facebook, your Twitter following, your social media connections, people in your text, what have you. That's one way. Another way, now the company won't be able to endorse any specific service, but I promise you, Kristen, there's going to be third-party services out there that what they do is they help generate customer registrations. Now, we're not talking about fake registrations. We're talking about people who actually come to your site, see your site, see that you're giving away Jubi bucks, or you're giving away access to a Jubi resort, or you're giving away a sample, and they register to get your Jubi bucks or your samples, so on and so forth. Now, again, on a corporate webinar, I can't endorse any particular third-party service out there, but believe me, get back with your enroller, find out who your leaders are, and I promise you, in most cases, they already either have some things in place or some things coming up. I know there's some groups, for instance, Christian, that are doing some co-ops, and with the co-ops, I've heard about them talking about, I just don't see how they won't have plenty of customers because of the offering that we have. Great question. How about PayPal? No, we will not use PayPal to load funds or to pay out. PayPal is really not all that friendly to marketing businesses, and I think that might even be in some of their terms and conditions. So no, PayPal will not be a viable method to either load funds into our system or to receive as a payout. Okay. Give me a moment here. Terrence Burns, I haven't heard that name being mentioned. I'll make a note of it, though, and see if management needs to take a look at that. Give me just a moment. Let me type that out here, buddy. I can tell you that the sources that the company has, one of them is one of the biggest outfits in the world doing a tremendous amount of processing, and I know that there were some very good conversations today So in terms of payout solutions, great payout solutions, and we're starting to see some good pay-in solutions as well. Okay. Is NXPay going to be used? John, I've heard the name thrown out, but I don't know if that's going to be a solution or not. Okay. Simone. Simone, you're asking specifically about third-party services for customers, which I can't really address on this. But Simone, I know who your enroller is, or I know who your enroller looks to leadership for. Get with them, Simone, because I already know they have some ideas. I just can't talk about that on a corporate webinar. Can you use a Visa debit card to pay for the Jubi account card? Our Jubi account is a virtual bank account. It's also going to serve as a payout solution. So it gives you a virtual bank account with a debit card. It's going to be a phenomenal payout solution. We're still testing some of the pay-in solutions. There looks like there's quite a few pay-in solutions, so we're testing all of those. Yes, Shelly, you should be able to use a Visa debit card to cover. There's a $12.95 initial fee to get that all set up and to send out your debit card with that. So yes, Shelly, you should be able to cover that with a Visa debit card. Okay. Tyrone Hutton, would you do me a favor and maybe send a support ticket to that cause, please, friend? Okay. Okay, someone is asking, how can a person join for free, all right, and eventually earn their way to a Jade director or Ruby director position? That's real simple. Now, I would strongly encourage, if a person had the resources, that they, while they're not mandated, that they get a monthly subscription. Why? Because with your monthly subscription, you're going to get a corresponding amount of personal use Jubi bucks. So if I'm at $15 a month, I get 15 personal use Jubi bucks. I can't give those away to generate points. I have to use those in our system. Same thing with Ruby, same thing with Emerald. And there's been a long-standing principle in this industry of being a product of the product. How can I talk to you about, hey, sample this or try this or what have you, and do it with any fervor, any passion, any conviction, if I have not tasted and seen the product itself? Now, obviously, some of you don't need the weight loss product, all right? So find a product in the mix that speaks and resonates with you. So maybe you don't give out the weight loss, maybe you don't need the weight loss product, but if you use the skincare product or you use the energy product or vitality product and you see that product works, then that's going to give you more conviction that, hey, when you run across someone who may want the weight loss product, there's a good chance it's going to work for them. By the way, all they're doing is paying for the shipping and handling if you give out the sample anyway, right? So why wouldn't they try it? Okay, now to the question. What if I don't have the $15? What if I'm in a non-U.S. company and $15 in my currency? I was in Guatemala recently where it's a 7-to-1 ratio. So $1 US is 7 Guatemalan dollars. Okay, so maybe that's 105 bucks there. Is there a way I can earn my way there? Sure. Yeah, you could join for free. Then if you have enough production that gets you that $15 a month, you're Jade. You'd have to have non-promoter sales, so meaning someone who's not a promoter that bought enough product from you that generated the 15. Now remember that 15 there would be based on the business volume, That's not necessarily a dollar for dollar because of the profit margins and the fact that it costs the company money to produce the product, so on and so forth. Each product will have a business volume associated with it, so it may require more than $15 worth of actual sales to generate the 15. Jade, that's why if you do $15 a month, that's the easiest way to get to Jade. The question was, can a person who does not make a purchase, can they still make money? The answer to that is yes, they can earn the Jade Director. I will say this, though. They can earn personal sales commissions, but they have to be Jade or higher. They have to be Jade or higher to be able to earn in the daily revenue share. 4 minutes left here. Okay. Give me a moment. Great question. Someone says, okay, so what if I start my first month at Diamond? I do a $200 a month subscription. And now I'm starting, my subscription is going to come out. It's going to be a monthly anniversary. So if I do my monthly subscription on the 5th, or on the, what's today's date? If I do my monthly subscription, let's say on the 28th of February, then the 28th of March, I have another monthly subscription due. All right. What if I start off with my $200 a month, 105 days, as I'm getting close to March 28th, I haven't generated the profits from my business. Maybe I haven't recruited a lot to earn commissions, or I haven't sold a lot to earn commissions, and maybe my daily revenue is not at the point yet that it's enough to cover my Diamond Director position, and I don't have the funds to do that, and so I need to downgrade. Can I do that? The answer to that is yes. Well, what happens to all of the Jubi points I acquired when I was Diamond Director? Those Jubi points earn for 105 days. Your Jubi points earn for the corresponding number of days based on what your rank was at the time that you earned those points. So if you were a Diamond Director and you earned 100, 200, 1,000 points at the Diamond Director level, those 100, 200, 1,000 Jubi points earned for 105 days. If you then had to go down to the Emerald Director position, all right, those points you earn at the Diamond are still earning for 105 days. Now the Emerald points that you're earning essentially earn for 95 days. Or conversely, you started off at Jade or Ruby, because that's just where you were. We want you to purchase as much as your resources allow, get as high of a monthly subscription as your resources allow. Just don't hurt your family. All right? So maybe you started off at Jade. You earned some points at Jade. They earned for 80 days. Well, now all of a sudden you've got more profitability, and you start doing it. It just makes sense for you to become a Ruby, or you've sold yourself to Ruby, or you've bought yourself, upgraded to Ruby. Now when you become Ruby, any new points you earn for 85 days. If you're able to go from Ruby down to Diamond, now any new points you earn at Diamond earn for 105 days. Okay? We'll be giving you a strategy this coming Thursday to consider as you're loading funds. We'll give you a strategy as you consider. Can't make you do it, obviously, but just giving you a strategy to maximize the compensation plan. Okay? All right, this is going to be our last question, ladies and gentlemen, just because of time here, so I won't be able to get to everyone's question. Give me a moment. Mark Jones, do me a favor, buddy. Also, Mark, what I'd like you to do, Mark, would you go into your back office and send a support ticket? Send a support ticket. Let them know that you were on tonight's webinar, and let them know that you would like to get in contact with yours truly. That way we can have support, kind of see who that connection is, and put you in touch with someone in your enroller line that can assist you. Okay, Mark? Support ticket. Let them know you were on the webinar with T. Lamont, and you want to find out who some of the enrollers are in your enroller line that are doing this business. Or you can even tell them to have them to contact me on your behalf, okay? Okay, gotcha. Last question. Dean is asking, will there ever be credit cards for folks being able to make purchases? Dean, there'll be credit card processing for customer transactions, so I can say yes to that. In terms of promoters being able to purchase packages, that I'm not sure of. If that comes into play, there might be some limits on that because there are some inherent risks when you do that. If somebody, for instance, makes a $2,500 purchase and they want to come back in 4 or 5 months and do some type of dispute with a credit card company, that could be problematic because the company would have already paid out commissions, would have given points, so on and so forth. So I'm not sure as to, I know there's been some discussions about that, but I'm not sure where those discussions are going to lead. Dean is asking, will the company allow people to purchase monthly subscriptions, purchase Jubi Bucks as inventory to give away? Will the company allow that through credit card purchases? The answer is that's still in the air. Okay, my friend? There are a lot of great questions here, a lot of great questions. Don't have time to answer all of them. Please come back tomorrow at 12 noon. We do the same thing. Tomorrow at 12 noon, we'll be right back here at the same webinar link. Tomorrow at 12 noon Eastern. Give me a moment. We're going to be right back here at JubiRevWebinar.com. Okay, JubiRevWebinar.com. We love each and every one of you. Let's change the world together, starting with yours. And remember, with Jubi Rev, Jubi Max, it is not just a company. No, it is not. It is a movement. Good night, everyone.